Hi, my name is Eric Worrell, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a French press coffee but without being pretentious. So throughout this video there's going to be a little character that's going to jump up on screen. I've nicknamed him Scoff because he's your barista who scoffs at everything that I'm about to do and tell you that it can be done better. I'm going to show you really quickly how to make a French press coffee, but then also go through and see if some of these things that the barista might recommend make sense doing. But what we're looking at on the screen is pretty much everything you would need to make a French press coffee, maybe a little bit more depending on your style. But of course, we've got some coffee beans right here. We have a bamboo chopstick, which we'll get to in a little bit. This is a hand ground coffee grinder, so you can do that by hand. Of course, you have your French press, a scale, an electric tea kettle, which I like because it's very easy to use. I'm gonna actually turn that on right now. And then I've already measured out the water in this tea kettle. So what we're going to use for this 32-ounce French press is I have 32 ounces of water in here. What that equals as far as coffee grounds is 56 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on screen now how to measure out this using a scale. Hey, I'm going to interrupt my own video real quick. What I just said on the screen, 56 grams of beans for 32 ounces of water. That's a pretty weak French press coffee. It's really going to be up to your style, your taste, what you want to do. But at the end of this video, I'm going to explain this coffee strength calculator so that you can get your water and bean ratios and know exactly what it is in grams, ounces, and know exactly what you need to do for your French press. So using this device here, what you can see is the hand ground coffee grinder I have right now is tared down so that it is at 0. If I take this off the scale, you can see that it's actually negative. So why don't we tare right now? What tare means is setting it to 0. So you can see that right now in grams, this is 577 grams. I'm gonna hit the tare button, it's to 0. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in 56 grams of coffee beans.
All right, perfect. We're at 56 grams. I apologize, the audio started to get a little bad because of the tea kettle, so I'm using a different mic, but what I'm showing you right here is the hand ground coffee grinder has 15 different settings for it. So when you're making your grinds at the 8th setting here, it's going to give a very coarse grind, but I'm dialing it down, dialing it back up. You want a very coarse grind so that it looks like kosher salt, if you're familiar with that. So what we're going to do is grind this up real fast in ultra speed. So with this particular hand ground coffee grinder, the bottom twists off like so. And when I twist this off, I'm doing it over a plate because I'm going to get a little bit of grinds that are going to come off. But I'm going to zoom in here to give you kind of a better idea of the size of these grinds. You can see that it's like I was saying before, it's kind of a kosher salt size. You want a very, very coarse grind like this when you're making a French press coffee.
Just about done over here, so I'm going to dump our grinds in here. Okay, it's going to be a total of 4 minutes that you're going to want to let your French press coffee steep. So that's the big difference between this coffee and your traditional drip over, pour over coffees, is that with a drip over, the water runs through the grinds and goes into the pot or your cup. With this, it's going to steep with the coffee grinds for 4 minutes. You probably just heard this pop. That's because that is done. What we're going to start out with is 30 seconds of just submersing the grinds with the water. Reason to do that is it lets some of the gases out of the coffee grinds. And then what we're going to do is 3 minutes, 30 seconds with water completely up to the top here. All right. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 seconds.
Sure, 30 seconds. And we're starting now.
So those Google Home devices are pretty handy for this, and what I'm doing is just making sure all the grinds are getting submerged here, and just for 30 seconds this is going to do this. And this is, as you can see, I'm using this chopstick. You can use whatever you want. This is just pretty easy for me to do and pretty easy to clean. Hey Google, turn off the timer. Okay, so 30 seconds have gone by, and now we're going to set another timer. Hey Google, set a timer for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So one of the things I'm going to do here, because Scoff would say that I should have heated this French press up, is I'm going to give you a visual of how hot the water is as it's going into the coffee pot without heating this up and just letting it sit on this kind of cold granite. We should be all set, ready to go here in a few seconds to pour. Hey Google, how much time is left on the timer?
48 seconds to go.
48 seconds, so we'll cut back to it when we're ready. Hey Google, turn off the timer. So at this point, we're going to push the plunger down. There should be a little bit of pressure. If there's not, it's probably because your grinds are too fine. You want a coarse grind, or else those grinds are going to come right through the screen. And now we're going to do a close-up here, and you can kind of see the velvety look of the coffee compared to a normal coffee. And what we're going to do too is I'm going to take a temperature gauge of this, see what the temperature is at after I pour 2 cups out. A nice American size pour. So I've got this nice little gun here. The granite's at about 72 degrees, and you can see the coffee just poured 165 if we get to the center there. Seems like it's kind of shooting through the coffee a little bit. And that is how you make a French press coffee. Now if you want to drink your coffee with, you know, Dunkin' Donuts creamer, whatever you want, however you like it. I drink it black. Don't let somebody tell you how you should like your coffee. It doesn't have to be pretentious. You can make a really good coffee with French press, allowing the grinds to steep in the water. Just make sure you're really following the basics. You want to make sure that you have filtered water, you're measuring out your beans, you're measuring out the water, you're using a coarse grind, and then it's 4 minutes total, 30 seconds to let the gases escape, and then 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on it to make your coffee.
Hey guys, just wanted to wrap up this French press video, but I've got a free resource for you here. If you really want to dial in your taste preferences, I know throughout the video I was kind of joking around with scoff coming up on screen and saying that it's doing things wrong, but you know, like what you like. If you want a coffee and you want it a specific way and a specific taste, what I've done is I've created a calculator here, and all you have to do is enter in the 2 numbers here to figure out exactly what you need to do as far as how much water you need and how many beans you need. If you remember from the video, I said it's about 56 grams of coffee for 32 ounces of water. You can see that right here. So this will automatically do the calculations for you. If you end up purchasing a 16 ounce French press, because you can get them at different sizes, and you decide, you know what, I want a stronger coffee, so I'm going to put it at a 2, because you can see on the screen here it's 1 to 7 is the range. This will tell you exactly how much water you need, how many coffee beans, etc. Just a couple other notes here. If you click on the tabs at the bottom, there's a coffee journal, which you can do pretty easily. You can select different styles and methods of brewing coffee, what you did, where the beans were from, if you liked it or not, if you really want to dork out about it. I also created a tab that has coffee tastes by region, so you know what country, what kind of taste you're going to get. So if you are buying coffee beans, I should say for the coffee beans, going back on the video, if you want a really, really good taste, easiest way to identify that is on the bag. It will tell you when the beans were roasted by, not when they expire. Because if you look at a bag and it says that that coffee expires in 3 months, it's not going to be the best coffee for you. If you find beans that say it was roasted a week or 2 ago, that's going to give you a real tasty coffee. Last thing I'll mention here, to get this sheet, if you're into Google Sheets, you can go to beancalc.com, and what's going to happen is it's going to redirect you, and you'll just make a copy of this document for your own records. What I also will do is I will keep an Excel spreadsheet in the description of this video that you can click and download too if you prefer Excel, and I'll have links to all the products mentioned in the video in the description below as well too. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is a little joke that I read watching a different video on how to make a coffee using a French press, and it said, how did the hipster burn his mouth? He drank his coffee before it was cool. I thought that was pretty good. I liked it. If you guys got good jokes about hipsters and people who take themselves too seriously, it's just coffee. It's dirty water. It's just delicious dirty water that all of us love. So leave your comments, jokes, tips, whatever you want in the comments below. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and take care.